Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Broadway Limited's recently released the Paragon 4 UP Big Boys. I've got both 4014 and the standard Excursion finish, the glossy appearance that was seen on the Big Boy pretty much right after restoration, and number 4005 here. So we'll get 4005 unboxed since the other two are already out of their boxes, and we'll see what you get starting now. Right after we remove the plastic that was protecting the box, your dealer may or may not include, got the box itself. Slides out. There is, speaking of Union Pacific, a flyer in here about their brand new business cars. Huge deal. If you don't have your pre-order in on these, I highly suggest you pre-order these because the pre-orders almost sold out on the Big Boy, or on the business cars. Here is the Big Boy, and it slides out of its box here, and you see included a funnel under the Big Boy, and look at what I kind of call a trap door. We've got some paperwork here, and in this trap door paperwork we've got several different things. You have a default standard mode lighting list of functions and the pro mode lighting list of functions. And we've done reviews on Big Boys before, so we'll just cover a couple of facts, but we'll try to spend more time on the functions of this Paragon 4 decoder in this Big Boy. 31 pages of information in the manual, including maintenance and configuration variables. And then the Big Boy itself here. So you slide it out. There's more accessories here, including, sorry for the hairy arm, but a coupler. There's a smoke deflector that can go on the smoke box, or on the smokestack, I should say. And then there's traction tires and a tool to install those. The sides fall off of the packaging, and that leaves just the locomotive with a clamp here. And as you can see, we're too long for our turntable, so I will get this out of the box and get it on something a little more steady. All right. Got it at least on its box here. It's heavy, so it's going to go down a little bit in the middle. But here we can see the Big Boy in all of its glory. LED headlight, bell, flying number boards, operating marker lights, pilot that can be rotated out to the dummy coupler or rotated back. All the side rods and pistons for both set of drivers. Here there's plumbing. You have the smoke stack and the firebox there on the front, the sand and boiler domes, safety valves up top. You have to zoom in a little bit so you can see this better. Whistle up front. This is a smoking whistle locomotive as well, so that's going to operate just fine. The firebox is actually back here. Smoke box door is what I meant to say. The firebox has all that rivet detail. There's an ash pan on this one. Ash pans aren't present on 4014 because they got rid of them in the Excursion service. And obviously you have a coal load, realistic coal load here on 4005. There's also the crew cab figures, 4005 on the side with all of the designation, crew access ladders. It's already connected with a pin and a little receptacle, male-female connection there. Realistic coal load on your tender with the water hatches, rear marker lights that are operational, rear LED tail light that's operational. All of your truck detail, ladders, plumbing, and then there's also your coupler cut lever and a silver tipped end air hose there. Taking a look at this side of the locomotive. The cab doors are closed on this one, but there is boiler backhead detail. It's going to be really hard to catch another cab figure here on the fireman side, or engineer side I should say. But as you see, there's a wheel. People say that's a brake wheel. It's actually a wheel to dump the ash from the ash pan there. It's really kind of hard to see, but it's a little wheel right there. You get the trailing truck detail, and again all the side rod detail, and you can see the valves a little better, and even the throttle lever running from the locomotive cab to the throttle. It zigzags up and runs there. Dynamo on the other side's poking out right there, and you have builder's plates located here, and your whistle that I talked about a minute ago also located there. So there you have it. There's the Big Boy quick rundown in 360 format here. A little hard to stay focused how long this thing is. The camera's trying to pick an end. I don't know how accurate this weight will be as it kind of bears down on this box unevenly, but it's 3 pounds, 4.2 ounces. That's 52.2 ounces and 1 kilogram, 482 grams. So very, very hefty locomotive. Let's talk about some differences. You have 4005 up here with the coal load. That's one of the major differences on that variation, along with the ash pan, as you can see down below there. The ash pan under the firebox. So you can also see the finish on 4005 is kind of matte. As we look over here to the glossy version of 4014, you will see a glossy version. So this is most representative of when it first rolled out. When the real locomotive first rolled out, it was really shined up and good to go. Obviously a lot of that soot and everything coming out of the smokestack, the residue from the smokestack and the steam kind of starts matting the finish of 4014, and that's why Broadway Limited also offers, as you can see there in the back, a matte version of 4014. So I believe they call it the standard Excursion and the glossy Excursion. I'd have to look at the box, but either way what you have is different variations you can get of this. And let me not forget to mention stealth as well. The stealth versions you can upgrade with a Loc Sound plug and play decoder very easily. The speaker's already installed. You just have to have the Loc Sound decoder programmed. Either you can do it with your Loc programmer, or you can also have it done with some companies offer that when they sell the decoder. Some hobby shops do as well. There's other decoders that will also fit into the DCC ready or stealth versions of these locomotives. So they call the glossy the promontory Excursion appearance, and the standard the Big Boy Tour Excursion appearance of 4014. So that gives you a look at all the a few of the variations. There's other numbers, but all of the finishes, the matte and the glossy and the coal load and the oil burner tenders. One other note about the tenders on the 4014s, that's the Challenger tender on the 4014, which is what is currently on the 4014. Supposedly one day the 4014 will get back its other tender, and then you'll need yet another variation of 4014, but it's very minute detail differences between the Challenger tender and the Big Boy tender. Alright, to start the locomotive, you've got extended startup, or you can just move it. I cover extended startup quite a bit, so I'll just move it this time. The steam will heat up in a second, and I'm gonna have to go get some steam fluid for this real quick because you want to put a couple drops in right away. I use JT's Mega Steam. You can use whatever you want on this. There is a smoking whistle. I'll show you that first before this smokestack really starts going so you can see that clearly. Once this gets to moving, you can see the puffing smoke. Kind of got two of them going side by side here. With 3 total, you can really see QC. Quality control checks are good on these locomotives. Whistles are working good. Smoking whistles are working good on all 3 locomotives. They have pretty smooth drive right out of the box. You also have added capacitance. As you see, it's still going. Nearly 5-6 seconds. Got the glossy version here so you can hear some sounds. I do want to cover a few sounds. For the full review though, be sure to check out my previous Paragon 4 Big Boy review. So, Pro Lighting mode we won't go over, but Pro Lighting mode, if you change CV128 to 1, you can individually control the marker lights, number board lights, etc. And if you have CV128 to 2, then that's your standard lighting mode, and that's what it's default out of the box at. But let's go ahead and fire this up. Bell. You hear the dynamo whine. Spool up as the lights come on after a slight delay. 2's whistle. And then F22 is the alternate whistle. I like the first one better myself. I think it sounds pretty realistic compared to the real thing. F3's coupler sounds, which you have to activate. You have to move to activate. As you see, the headlight brightens. And I don't have my front trucks on here. Alright, but headlight brightens with the coupler sounds. Just all sorts of on the ground here. Alright, I was just making sure it wasn't some sort of derail problem. It's just a me problem. But everything's on the track now. F4's air pumps. F5's blow down if you're stopped. F6 is water fill. F7 will turn your smoke on and off. F8's master volume or mute. F9's the startup and shutdown. 10's the coal shovel or oil injector if you have an oil version. Eleven's water injectors. Sorry, that's the bell. 12 is brake set release. 13's grade crossing sequence. 14 station sounds. 15 all the way through 19's different yard radio chatter. We'll skip that. 20 controls the number boards independently, even on standard mode. So the number board just went off. 21's lumber mill sounds. 22's whistle toggle, which we already covered. 23's short whistle blast. 24's marker lights on and off. So those are independently controlled on 24. 25's long whistle. 26 is macro playback, 27's record macro. That's where you can record a sequence and play it back, and it'll run basically automatically around your layout. And 28 is brake squeal. So those are the different functions. I don't know what I need to do to activate brake squeal. Maybe get a little faster going, but wanted to go through most of the functions there with you since we rarely do, instead of some of the other testing. Now you're still going to have about a 2 scale mile an hour out the gate speed step. You're also going to have a pull test of about 11 to 12 ounces, which is insane. I've already seen online where people are realistically pulling around their layout over 100 freight cars, so this is going to be able to handle most passenger consists. And I would like to bust out all my brass one day and see if it can handle it, but all the brass UP passenger cars, but today is not the day with my schedule. So that is a quick rundown of the locomotive. I'm going to go ahead and move this at 1 speed step so you can see this puffing smoke. Get about 4 puffs per revolution. 3, 4. So that's pretty good on the wheels. And you get pretty smooth motion here. This is 2 speed steps at this point. Reducing down to 1. You see the rear marker lights as well. And the rear light illuminates in reverse. Back down to 1 here for a second. You can see that it's running pretty smoothly, but it is a little faster at 2 scale miles an hour out the gate about. I do want to show in the dark the marker light, number boards, and headlight. It's kind of bright and it's hard to really see the number boards or anything, but I will tell you they're evenly lit. There's not shine through, and they're not overly bright. They are basically a really mostly pure white light, maybe a hint of golden white appearance to them. Here's another look, still kind of hard to see with a lot of light bleed through, but also on the rear you have the marker lights and the cab light, which stays on until you get up to about 3 speed steps. Then it turns off. Here's a quick look at the rear and the rear light. Now these look like they have red facing straight and white on the side for the rear marker lights, and then the pure white for the rear tail light. We never do shutdown sequence, so let's go ahead and do that. So I tried to cover some things I don't normally cover in reviews, since we've reviewed these big boys so many times from Broadway Limited. So hopefully you got a few more pieces of information to help. Overall, my final thoughts: really good locomotive, great pulling power at 11 to 12 ounces. It's going to pull whatever you want pretty much. The gloss version and the standard version give you some options for appearance that you want. I think either one's really a good option, and I had to go with both because I can't make up my mind. I think the representation is good with the Challenger Tender. The print is good. The finish is good. And the smoke and whistle features work well if you want smoke and whistle. If you don't, you can turn off the smoke and you don't have to have smoke. And you can also get the DC version and install a different decoder if you want different sounds, and you won't get smoke in most cases unless you do some serious work on that with the DCC ready versions, and you'll save yourself a little money with those versions. So overall, I think it's a really nice model. I'm going to leave you with a run by of, we'll just pick the glossy version here since you've seen all three in action, and with a short consist of UP cars, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care. Hey, don't forget, Broadway Limited is releasing Kenefic. This is the brass version, costs over $2,000 to $3,000 now on eBay, but you can get a version for a lot cheaper, so be sure to pre-order. Pre-orders are selling out. I'm really pushing this because I want this to succeed, because if this succeeds, they will do other Union Pacific business cars and other Union Pacific cars in the business fleet. So be sure to pre-order if you can on this Kenefic. With this is the brass one, but the plastic one through your favorite dealer, or you can check out pre-orders at trainworld.com. Take care.